This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, hello there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another sports catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for April 8th is a deceased athlete. Normally I do one for live athletes, but I couldn't find a live athlete who was born on April 8th. Well, I did for last year with King Felix Hernandez, but I couldn't find anyone who was currently living who was born on April 8th and was powerful. Especially with the fact that this guy, obviously, this guy was the main focus. I owed it to the Montreal Expos fandom to get Gary Carter in here. So Gary Carter, who was born April 8th, 1954, who would have been 68 today, but unfortunately he's dead. Well, he died in 2012. That was 10 years ago. Wow. I can't believe it was that long ago. He played 19 years with the Expos and Mets as a catcher. He was nicknamed the Kid. He was an 11-time All-Star and member of the 86 World Champion Mets. Carter was known for his hitting, excellent defense, and on-field leadership, helping the Mets out. He was the hero for Game 5 of the NLCS in 86 against the Astros, getting the winning hit. And of course, his single against the Red Sox in Game 6 of the 86 World Series, which we'll elaborate on later on, was also focal. He was named captain of the Mets, and his number is retired by the Expos, but not by the Mets. That's kind of a puzzling thing. I mean, all that. But anyway, when Gary Carter got to the Hall of Fame in 2003, finally, he was inducted as a Montreal Expo, even though he wanted to be a New York Met. Why, I don't know. I mean, Expos, he spent 11 years with them. So anyway, Gary Carter wanted to play quarterback for the UCLA Bruins in the NFL. College football. But the Expos signed him in the third round of the 72 MLB draft. So you knew something had to happen. Anyway, Carter was drafted by the Expos as a shortstop. But in the minor leagues, the Expos needed a catcher, so they made him a catcher. And he did well for the Expos AAA affiliate, scoring 23 home runs and 83 RBIs. So Gary Carter was called up September 1974 and would bat 11 for 27. Carter, in his rookie season, split time between catching and right field, and was actually part of the National League All-Star team as a right fielder, which was weird. And all that. Like, he was a right fielder. He was second in National League Rookie of the Year voting to John Montefusco of the Giants. Kind of a dumb move, don't you think? Carter again went through splitting time between the outfield and being a catcher in 1976, which was weird. But Carter would soon become the main catcher when Barry Foote, the starter, was traded to the Phillies, and the Expos had enough outfield arms to do well, with Cromartie, Valentine, and Dawson. So Carter could play behind the plate. And by 1980, he was a great catcher and all that. He drove in 101 runs and took second in NL MVP voting to Mike Schmidt, who, of course, was the hero for the Phillies in that famous 3-game series at the end of the year in 1980 that saw the Phillies take over the NL East title from the Expos. Gary Carter was the hero in the 1981 All-Star game. You know, the day before they started the season because of the split season. So he came in the 81 All-Star game and hit 2 home runs, including the winning home run in the 8th inning at Cleveland Stadium, making him the 5th and most recent player to hit 2 home runs in an All-Star game. Carter would help the Expos win the second half of the season for the Expos in the NL East, putting them into a best 3 out of 5 playoff against the Phillies, in which he helped the Expos take down the Phillies in Philadelphia, of all things. Carter was huge in that NLDS, if you will. 421, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. Unfortunately, Carter did not get any RBIs in the LCS against the Dodgers, in which the Dodgers won thanks to Rick Monday's home run. Pierre Trudeau even said that on Carter's popularity, I'm certainly happy that I don't have to run for election against Gary Carter. Some experts actually said that Carter's unabashed enthusiasm was huge. And Andre Dawson said Carter was a glory hound more than a team player. Carter helped the National League win the 1984 All-Star Game, giving him a second All-Star Game MVP. He had 106 RBIs, which led the NL, which was good, and a 294 batting average in that year. The Expos looked good and all that. Carter thought he could be paid a little bit more, but the Expos were running on financial issues, especially with the fact that their run from 1979 to 1982 did not really produce much from a playoff point of view. They won a playoff series that they should not have been in because of the whole split season format. The Expos were next year's champs. So the Expos decided to trade him to the Mets in December, picking up Hubie Brooks, Mike Fitzgerald, Herm Winningham, and Floyd Yeomans in return. Yeomans was a decent pitcher for the Expos. Winningham, who the heck was he? Mike Fitzgerald would be the new Expos catcher. And Hubie Brooks, it actually worked out for the Mets. That made the Expos that way. But yeah, Gary Carter was the heart and soul of the Montreal Expos. And basically, they traded him away because of salary things. And then infamously, on April 9th, 1985, my birthday, the day I was born, Gary Carter hit a 10th inning home run to beat the St. Louis Cardinals. Unfortunately, the Cardinals did beat the Mets for the NL East title. Anyway, Carter ended up 6th in MVP voting. And Carter also hit 32 home runs and 100 RBIs that year, his first season with the Mets. In his second season, he helped the Mets win 108 games and crush everyone in the NL East. Carter only bat 148 in the NLCS, but he had a walk-off RBI single to win Game 5, and then the Mets won Game 6 in the Astrodome. The Mets would win the World Series in 7 over the Boston Red Sox in '86. Carter hit 2 home runs in Game 4 over the Green Monster at Fenway Park. Carter picked up 9 RBIs in his first and I guess only World Series ever. Carter was famous for starting that rally in Game 6. Bottom of the 10th, Mets were down 5-3, and all the Red Sox needed to do was keep everyone honest. Well, in the end, Gary Carter did a 2-out rally. He got a single, and then the Mets would score 3 runs in that inning and win the game. Carter would finish 3rd in NL MVP in 1986. Carter looked good and all that. He got his 300th home run against the Cubs at Wrigley Field in 1988. Carter was named co-captain of the team. Carter did not do that well with home runs and RBIs, his lowest total since 1976 with the 1988. But he did end the season with the most putouts by a catcher, beating Bill Freehand's mark. The Mets looked like they were going to go to the 1980 World Series, but the Dodgers shocked them in Game 7 at Dodger Stadium. Carter would really slump in 1989, and the Mets decided to release him. 5 seasons for the Mets, 89 home runs, 349 RBIs, and a World Series title. The Mets didn't show him that loyalty. So Carter went back to California to play for San Francisco, would platoon with Terry Kennedy in 1990, and did okay. And then he found himself again with another team, the LA Dodgers, in 91. It was weird seeing Gary Carter in Dodger blue, having to deal with, facing the Expos, especially when the Expos had that perfect game by Dennis Martinez at Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers actually that year only missed the NL West by 1 game over the Braves. Imagine if the Dodgers had won that game against the Expos. Anyway, Carter would return to Montreal for his final season, obtained off waivers from the Dodgers. So Montreal said, hey, you know what? Let's bring him back. So he played some games for the Expos, but his last game in his major league career was huge. September 27, 1992, when the Expos were hosting the Cubs at Stade Olympique, you know, they gave him giant standing ovations. They knew his time was come. Carter would hit a double over the head of Andre Dawson, irony of ironies, and skip to the wall for a double. To score Larry Walker, and that was the only run of the game with the Expos and Cubs. He was given a standing ovation, and then he left for Tim Laker. The Expos won 87 games and took second in the NL East. Anyway, during a 19-year Major League career, Carter went to the All-Star game 11 times, won 3 Gold Gloves and 5 Silver Sluggers. He played in over 2,200 games as a catcher, 324 home runs, 1,225 RBIs. Carter did everything for himself. Carter became an analyst for Marlins TV broadcasts from 93 to 96. And for years, Gary Carter would be described as the best player not to be in the Hall of Fame. But in 2003, he got elected to the Hall of Fame finally. Carter thought he wanted to be inducted with an Expos cap, but unfortunately, because of the Mets employing him, he decided to have a Mets cap and all that. But the final decision rested with the Hall of Fame and said that, Carter's achievements for 12 years at the Expos, and let's face it, the Expos were shot on a lot. Gary Carter's a member of the Expos. Carter did accept the Hall of Fame's decision with grace and all that. The Mets have not retired number 8. No Met has worn number 8 since 2003, which was weird. Just retire it already. So anyway, Carter became manager of the Gulf Coast Mets, and then he was promoted to the A-level St. Lucie Mets, helping them win the Florida State Championship. Anyway, Carter did some stuff and all that. He and his wife Sandy had 3 children. One of them was Kimmy, who used to be a softball catcher for Florida State from 1999 to 2002. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Anyway, yeah, and it was funny seeing Gary Carter's, his first daughter, Christy, in a famous 7-Up commercial. It was kind of cute when Christy was 3 years old. Anyway, Carter in 2011 was diagnosed with malignant tumors in his brain, 4 of them, after expressing headaches and forgetfulness. He had a grade 4 primary brain tumor and was inoperable. And Carter would have to go through treatments to shrink his tumor. All that. Unfortunately, though, it was a little too aggressive, and he died February 2012 at the age of 57. The Mets would wear a memorial patch on his jersey and all that. The Expos paid tribute to Carter with a montage before their game against the Devils February 20th, 2012. And Yuppie, when the Expos left, Yuppie became the official mascot of the Habitants. He wore an Expos jersey too, never forgetting his thing and all that. But Carter had a deep faith, family, baseball, and God. That's all there was to it. Gary Carter was a hero for the Montreal Expos. Of the 1980s, the Expos were good and all that, but they just couldn't get over the hump. 79, the Pirates sunk them for the division title. 1980, the Phillies sunk them for the division title. 81, they got in because of a stupid split season, and Rick Monday ruined it for the Dodgers. And in 82, the Expos were good, but not that good enough. What might have been for Gary Carter to give a World Series title or an appearance in Montreal. Maybe the Expos stay in Montreal, or maybe not. We'll never know. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.